Got these wolves, Dusty, coming in here with their fucking teeth and their fentanyl. We've got to build a wall, a beautiful wall, and Canada's going to pay for it.
Those Canadian wolves, man.
Tall Drink of Water, episode 3 of Yellowstone. And that seems to be the one of the main plot points that they're starting to build towards are these wolves.
It ain't dogs.
Don't know how they got here so quick. Just released them in the spring.
100 miles from here. I don't think it's a wolf.
This episode starts with a pretty lengthy flashback to young John, young Rip, and young Lloyd. And they're sort of investigating the deaths of some cattle on the property. We see John going to the, I guess, the offices of, I was assuming it was the governor or some political power, because in these flashbacks, John is the livestock commission head.
Correct. Yeah, he's a livestock commissioner.
Yeah, and he's going in and he's just like, hey, I expect reparations for this bullshit. You got these fucking wolves coming in here and they're protected, so we can't kill them. So I expect payment for my lost cattle. Now, are they building to like a mystery with this shit, or like what's going on here? Because I
think it's just further showing the embattlement that the Dutton family has had to go through in order to maintain and protect their land, and it spills over to other people too. Because that hearing they were at, other people were pissed off because their livestock's getting, depredation hunting is what they call it, but their livestock's getting hit too, and the officials like, oh yeah, no, there's no confirmed kills by wolves, but yeah, it seems to be that this is. I don't know how. I mean, we have some linear story where Kayce was seeing a wolf.
Yeah, but
and the show features wolves a lot, but the direction they're going in is a little confusing.
Well, the reason I use the word mystery is because if you remember in the last episode, the initial thought was that it wasn't wolves. That was from Ryan. Ryan was like, I don't think this is wolves. And Rip was kind of just like, nah, it's wolves, do your fucking job. And then they killed the wolves. So
he was like, it doesn't matter what fucking killed it. Wolves ate it. So go do your job.
Right. And then the wolves come back, clearly start eating the body. They shoot and kill them. They're protected wolves. They're protected by the federal government because they're from the Yellowstone Park. But what the fuck is killing these things? Because in this flashback, in this episode, there was also a question as to whether or not it was wolves. I think it was young Lloyd who was like, oh, rip the stomach out and the butthole out or whatever the fuck he says. It's like, that sounds like wolves to me.
Right.
So there seems to be, they're raising a bit of a question as to whether or not it is wolves. Now, I'm not saying it's like paranormal or anything like that. That's not this type of show. But like, what is going on here?
It's aliens, man.
Maybe.
The alien impregnates the farm girl.
It's a fucking chupacabra.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just I don't know. For anybody that thinks the show's not political, it's been very political from the start because this is the executive branch of government and the Dunn's control of it. But yeah, I think we're just getting more like political drama from the side because he's the governor now. So
well, the show's not political in the sense we talked about this. It's not political in the sense that it doesn't have the same connotations that you would normally get when somebody says that's too political. Like that's not. It's
right. I think the writers are very clever in that they remain apolitical.
Yeah.
Like when the vegans came and protested.
Right.
You're slaughtering animals, blah blah. And he's like, well, have you ever tilled a field because that kills animals too?
Right.
There's a poignant reply that makes sense. That's kind of showing both sides of the argument in a fair way. So
it does a really
clever in that sense.
It does a really good job in sort of showing both sides of an argument, with the exception of now what's going on in this season with the corporate entity that's sort of the main focus of this season's plot. It's very clear that like this show is saying like corporations are fucking bad. Fuck corporations. We're seeing it at play. Like they don't give a fuck about what they're doing to the land or the wildlife or anything. They're just coming in, developing, and they're looking to make millions of dollars. Billions of dollars, really.
More bags.
Yeah. So this show has always been and remains to be sort of a love letter to nature.
Conservation versus progress.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that progress, but that's, I guess, a different type of conversation. Speaking of this corporation, this episode also features Beth fucking just laying like a haymaker onto this company.
This episode is mostly evolves around Beth. Like,
Yes.
and as nothing crazy per se happens, like we already knew everything that, because they had talked about what they were going to do, put the land in a conservation and blah, blah, blah. But, we didn't know the specifics, but we basically saw the play out with Beth doing this deal. And we got to see the savvy side of Beth, not the destructive side of the
Right.
snake bite business deal of Beth. We get to see a little more of the savvy side of her, like
Well, we do actually
doing
get
good business.
we do actually get to see both sides of her this episode.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think there was a reasoning for it because
right.
in this episode, she basically decides to sell her portion of the what was the firm that she ended up owning the controlling shares of? Schwarzenmeyer, right? So she was selling that. She has a meeting with the one of the, I guess, board members or something of Market Equities' biggest competitor, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to give you all my shit for free." She's going to retain a tremendous amount of money. I think it was like what $400 million or something like that.
$300 million worth of land. It's like 30,000 acres.
Yeah, but she's turning over the majority of everything over to this other company in an effort to completely fuck over Market Equities.
ME is going to sue me. They're going to claim they fired me for cause and that my severance should be nullified by me violating their company's NDA. Then they're going to sue me for my piece in this place, saying that I negotiated in bad faith, therefore the ownership agreement for Schwartz and Meyer should also be nullified.
And we see the fallout of that a little bit. The Market Equities bitch is getting fucking called back to New York. The board wants to speak with her. They're probably pissed. And Beth even says...
And that is how CEOs get fired.
The plan was to essentially cripple them financially for the coming years. And it was a good proposition for this other guy because he's not going to have any competition.
Yep.
After all this. And he agrees. And
that whole, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, where she knows somebody needs to, somebody has to make good on this deal while Market Equities is getting fucked. So she goes to somebody she knows apparently pretty well because she's seen him do blow off his ass.
A stripper's stomach, she said.
Oh, yeah.
Or it was a prostitute's stomach. The stomach of some female, yes.
Cocaine was done on body parts, and she saw it.
Yep. But we see the flip side of that now with Market Equities. We got the newcomer,
Sarah Atwater,
who's basically, the Market Equities Beth, essentially.
Yes.
And she's showing up to Jamie's office with the lawyer of Market Equities. And they're like, okay, like we're suing the state, this, that, and the other thing. And they put on a big show, well, the lawyer does, and he starts freaking out. He's like, you can't do this, blah, 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 blah. Kind of, getting Jamie to put his guard down because Jamie thinks that they've kind of won. Later on, we see a little bit of a hidden conversation between the two of them, the lawyer and the girl, that, oh, you're a good actor. You played that part well. And this is after Jamie agrees to have dinner with her. So he's kind of been set up, it seems pretty clear, for some sort of
set up.
Some sort of shenanigans. Well, so here's the thing though with Jamie. We talked
him out to the woodshed.
We talked a little bit about this as we were watching it, you and I, and they've set Jamie up now for several seasons as the weak link, the one that can't be trusted. I took the position that Jamie has never really done anything like malicious towards the Dutton family.
The interview.
He's done things that he just thought would basically get them to, it was some sort of like self-perceived like acceptance.
The interview was malicious. You're right about most of it. The interview was malicious.
No, that one was because that was at a point where he was like, all right, you know what? I can't do anything to fucking get on their good side, so fuck them.
Beth is also right in that he chose his own father over John when he didn't tell John that his father is the one
that called the hit squad.
Yeah, greenlit the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, he
that
came
is a
ar-
betrayal, but it's not a malicious betrayal per se, because he does have conflict there.
yeah, and he did come around in the end and fucking assassinated his biological father. So, I mean, you know, I think
Right.
Jamie's done a lot for the Duttons, and I think he's going to do more this season. So, to my point, I think that because they've built him up as the character that can't be trusted and the weak link, I think this season we're going to see a shift where Jamie is actually going to be the one who is doing the right thing, and Beth is the one that's going to fuck everything up.
Yeah, he'll get a redemption arc and she'll get a villain arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And not that she's so much a villain, but she is
No, right.
very
She's
cl-
fucked things up before, though.
yeah, because she's unhinged.
Right.
And I think at the end of this episode, when they get into this bar fight, I think that's very much
Rip.
yeah,
I'm gonna need you to keep your crazy in check while we're in here, please, Beth.
right. I think that's very much foreshadowing the fact that she really can't be controlled. The only person that really can control her, kind of, is John, but even he really can't.
I think there are two things that she is very protective over. One, Rip now, obviously, but the
Mhm.
other, her dad.
And just the
you could
family in
say
general.
Kayce, they're the family, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, because we've seen, like, she's shown some resentment towards herself about how she treated Rip when she was younger. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so she's coming around a little bit. So maybe they are building up this softer side of her so they can cut that out from underneath her and make her go psycho again.
So that's interesting, but I do think that bar fight was very much foreshadowing the fact that she is gonna fucking like fuck this up, and I do think Jamie's gonna get the sort of redemption arc, because we even see in the first 2 episodes he's the one from a legal perspective, as the district attorney or the attorney general rather, who's trying to warn John, like, hey, you're fucking like really kicking the beehive here, like you're like, this is not good, like we shouldn't be doing this for many different reasons. And Beth is the one like, know your fucking role and shut up. Let him do what he wants. So,
Right. Which I mean, to drill down though, what is she gonna fuck up? Like, I don't think she's gonna necessarily do anything to fuck up, put in jeopardy their mission. Now she might indirectly. She could fuck something up that requires John to fire her as her chief of staff. Like, she could fuck something up for him as governor where she has to step down or something. But I don't know that they make her fuck up the land.
well, I think so. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs and the legalities of what's going on in this show, really. Like, it's kind of all lost on me, but I think that she's gonna do there's some sort of miscalculation that's gonna happen from Beth, because she thinks she's hot shit. Like, she always thinks she's ahead of the curve.
Right.
There's a
She
reason.
knows she's one step ahead of him, not two. That's why she's trying to rush all this shit. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely plausible that she missed something, or they're gonna find a way to.
And she says
clap
that
back.
verbatim, like, I'm one step ahead, but I'm not two. So I got to get this
Yeah.
done quickly. But right now, she doesn't even know about the market equities chick. And
Right.
and I don't think we as an audience know. You and I are sitting here being like, oh man, she's like, this chick's going to give Beth a run for her money. But I don't think that anybody has any idea really what's coming down on them. I think she's going to be more of a adversary than what meets the eye.
I would like to see Jamie. I mean, if he's gonna go on this redemption arc where he's trying to be protectionist, he doesn't have to necessarily like be cordial with Beth or tell her the details, but he could tell John, like, hey, this chick is in town. She gave me her card. She seems like
Yeah.
she's a player or something. Might be something you want to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
He's not even doing that. He's playing everything. He's playing everything close to the vest, and he's not playing along. He's just doing what he's told because he's got Beth's boot on his throat.
Jumping over to Kayce in this episode has made the decision, the very mature decision, in my opinion, that he is going to step down as the livestock commissioner to focus on his family. As we know, in last season, he went on his vision quest, and he came out of that with the understanding that, like, I'm going to have to make a choice. And, you and I had said, like, it's clearly a choice between his family and his family. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
He chose Tate and Monica.
Yep.
Monica's really in mourning. She's like deep within it. We see a scene where she like cuts her fucking hair off. Apparently that's like some Native American thing. Mo says,
Yeah,
you know,
it's our way.
that's
Let her do it. She has to do it.
Yeah, that's our way. So I'm not really too sure what that means, but it's clear she's in mourning and Kayce needs to be there for her and for Tate because Tate's also processing the loss of what would have been his little brother.
That
So-
kid has been through so much.
He had to fucking shotgun a
Holy
guy.
crap.
He's been kidnapped. He's been through it. Yeah. But we see Kayce go and meet with John. John actually wasn't really in this episode very much. And one of the few scenes that with him in it, it's him and Kayce talking. Kayce goes to see him. It's carryover from last episode where Monica said, I want to bury the baby on your family's land so I could always go see him. I want you to ask your father. So Kayce goes and talks to John and says, hey, we want to have the funeral here. I don't know if you could be there because it's going to be like some sort of traditional thing. I'm not even sure if I could be there. And of course, John says, yeah, no, obviously, like no problem whatsoever.
That one bothered me a little bit. I didn't understand the need to take the time to film all those scenes. Like, she's like, I want it to be on the ranch. Oh, yeah, of course we're going to do it on the ranch. And of course my dad would say, yes, but ask him anyways. And so he has to ask him anyways. And he says, yes, we already know he's going to say yes. So.
Well, the thing is that Monica, I think, is still in a position where she is not fully, she kind of doesn't like his family.
Right.
Like-
She's an outsider in the Dutton
Right. And
patriarchy patriarchy.
she knows that obviously the family does questionable things
Of course.
to achieve their goal. So she was always sort of uncomfortable. She was uncomfortable with moving there. She was uncomfortable with living in the main house. So she's always, and she was sort of proved right when the fucking hit squad showed up.
Well, I mean, Kayce was too, but he felt family obligation, I guess is what you would call it.
Right.
Because he hated John Dutton at the beginning of the series. Like, he didn't want anything to do with the Dutton family.
Well, I think he hated John because he from his perspective, John does things for the ranch and the land over everything.
Well, John told him to take Monica and go get an abortion and not to come back until it was done.
Yeah, no, that was definitely part of it. But again, I'm saying that Kayce believes the motivation is from John is like everything for the land, everything for the ranch. That being very specifically like, I need you to focus on what I need you to focus on, not some woman and a baby and all that stuff. So there was resentment there. But I think Kayce has come around to seeing, as we, the audience, have over the course of the 5 seasons or 4 seasons thus far, is that, yes, John has a devotion to the land and the ranch, but also to his family. So I think that's why they showed that scene, because sometimes, in the midst of all this crazy shit that's going on with fucking governorship and like, battles with fucking companies and this, that, the other thing, you kind of forget that John, like, okay, he is a human being and he still loves his family, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying is we obviously, as the audience, obviously knew that he will do anything for Monica whatsoever. If she says sell the ranch, he might do it.
John, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
So last season, there were a lot of, when Kayce and Monica were living in the house, there were a lot of moments where John tried to warm up to Monica,
right,
and tried to show her like you are a welcome part of this family. But I think she's still sort of like hesitant to fully embrace it.
She would come around a little bit, but then some more shit would happen, and it would just divide the gap
exactly.
even more. So
she would come around, and then somebody would try to kidnap her, and her kid would have to shotgun him in the back. So like
it's just over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still some trepidation there, but I thought that was a nice scene between. Thank you. I thought that was a nice scene between Kayce and John. Interesting. There was a conversation between Kayce, Mo, and the chief, Rainwater.
Yeah.
And Rainwater says, "Oh, you should go talk to your brother, Jamie. The state can use an official investigator. We haven't had one in a really long time." So this could be a really fun arc for Kayce, because part of the thing that I love the most about Kayce is when he's fucking people up, when he's doing like the Frank Castle Punisher shit,
which even they can appreciate the good work that Kayce was doing at the last. They're like, I want
Yeah.
you right where you're at. I can't, I can't hire you as a police on the tribe because it just wouldn't look good.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, Casey's a legitimately good guy.
yeah,
We've s-
everybody loves Kayce. Yeah,
we
he's
saw-
a good, honest dude.
Yeah, we saw him use his position as the commissioner to help people in times when he probably shouldn't have. Like he was going
Right.
against what his role was there for, but he was still doing the right thing. So that'll be interesting if he becomes a state investigator. And knowing Taylor Sheridan, maybe we'll get to see him investigate some cases involving rapes or murders of Native American women on the reservation. They sort of subtly hinted at that being the case because, without a state investigator, like generally speaking, these reservations are fucking left to their own devices. They don't.
Devices. Yep.
When I watched Wind River the first time, I was fucking stunned and mortified by that little end blurb. I'll throw it up in the video because I don't remember it fully, but it said something along the lines of like, it was a stat about how many Native American women go missing from reservations every year, and I looked into it a little bit further, and apparently once you're off that reservation, it becomes federal, and generally the federal government does almost nothing to help them, which is fucked. So you could just go onto a reservation, kidnap a woman, take her off the reservation, and that's it. You've gotten away with it. So knowing that Taylor Sheridan, sheds light on these things, I could see Kayce getting involved in some stuff like that, and that would be cool to see. I'd really like that. Finally, the episode ends off with they're celebrating Lloyd's birthday over in the bunkhouse. Beth wants to celebrate for her royally fucking over the firm. She wants to take them all out to a bar against Rip's wishes. There's a really funny scene where Rip's like, Beth, I said no. And she's just like,
everybody.
Oh, did you?
Drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Beth wasn't having that. They go to some local bar, I think in Bozeman. And there's a conversation about how you never want to get real cowboys and fake cowboys together at a bar because shit's going to go down. And of course shit goes down, but not in the way you expected it. Rip gets hit on by some floozy who's there cheating on her husband. And it's where the episode name comes
As soon
from.
as that girl walked up and put her arm on Rip, I knew exactly what was about to happen.
And that's where the episode name comes from. She says something like, what's a tall drink of water like you doing here? Or something like that. And he's like, my wife's right over there and you don't want to fuck with her.
Yeah.
And she goes over, fucks with her,
she goes, oh, I'll take care of this. She says, no, please don't do that.
Yeah. Gets cracked over the head with a bottle by Beth, and the cops come. And apparently there's a new sheriff in town because if you remember, the previous sheriff was killed in that diner incident.
Correct. Yes.
So we got a new sheriff, and this new sheriff, he's not on John Dutton's payroll yet. So, Rip is like, you don't want to, do you know who that is? Yeah, I know who the fuck it is. Like, you're not going to want to do that. And he's like,
well, and it's not just that it's John Dutton's daughter, it's the governor's daughter.
And the governor's what is she? The
chief of staff.
Chief of staff, right.
Yeah, Rip made it a point to say, you didn't make this problem, but this is your problem now. So
right.
Enjoy it.
So we'll see how that plays out. But again, I think that was foreshadowing something bigger of her sort of getting a little bit too out of control. But yeah, good episode overall. It was definitely an improvement over the first two episodes. As we said, I thought the first two episodes were a little bit slow. And I mean, it's a slow moving show. It always is. It's just, I guess I had expected it to open up with a pretty big thing, but it was just kind of standard stuff. This one has now started to kick things into gear towards where this season's story is going. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think Market Equities is probably going to begin to take a back seat. I think Sarah Atwater is going to stick around and she's going to get her hooks into Jamie. But Market Equities won't be around for a little while. And then maybe at the end of this season, we'll see a punch to the gut to the Duttons because, the head, the old lady, the white haired lady, I forget her name. She's like, I want you to ruin this family. I don't care what it takes.
Yeah.
We may be dropping the lawsuit. We may have lost this battle. I may be going back to New York, but we're going to ruin this fucking family. And we're starting with, Beth. So we'll see what kind of strikes they make. We obviously, people have tried this before, but they tried to blow Beth up one time and it didn't work.
Eventually, the House of Cards topples, you know?
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments, folks, what you thought about this week's episode. If you have not done so and you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and leaving a thumbs up. And you could click on the playlist right over there to see all our Yellowstone Season 5 coverage. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Asta.